Guys and girls, we're going to go behind the scenes today. So, from a real estate agent's perspective, from a seller's perspective, from a buyer's perspective, when an offer is accepted, then what? We're going to take you from offers accepted to sold, which is exchange, and tell you about that journey. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Morning, Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark Novak,
Yes.
how are you?
Good, thanks, Mr. Josh Babshot.
Yes, the good old offer accepted. What comes after the yes this morning?
Oh, look, there's the emotional path, there's the legal path, there's the strategy path. It's multifaceted. We're going to talk about it all over the next 5 or 10 minutes, and at least give you a little bit of a background knowledge or a bit of a setup. But if it does happen with you, hope it'll happen soon. You'll be buying a property soon. What you can expect once offers accepted.
Yeah, definitely, because I think there is a whole new journey that tends to begin once you do get that offer accepted. I know a lot of people think, you've made the offer, you've got the yes, it's accepted. What's left to do? Well, there's a fair bit to do. Obviously, dependent on if you're in residential sales, you've got a cool off versus an unconditional offer. Obviously, there's a little bit of a difference between the two. So if anyone's unsure of a cool off, essentially what that is standard for any residential sale that you'll have 5 business days. If it is a public holiday between those business days, that is an extended to a further day. But essentially that's given the buyer some time to do their due diligence, either go through strata reports, contract with their solicitor, or just need that little extra time to feel confident to pull the pin. Now on these 5-day cool offs, you don't pay the full 5% or 10% deposit like you normally would. You pay a 0.25%. And if you do pull out at this point, you will forfeit that 0.25%. So bit of a difference in offer and acceptances based on your deal, whether it's a cool off or unconditional. But essentially, yeah, there are a lot of steps. For example, your legal side of things. So if you are going with that cool off or it's not an immediate exchange, obviously there's a contract to be reviewed by solicitors, and there tends to be some things like land tax components or amended clauses, etc. So that's probably one side of it that we usually see all the time. Mark, do you want to tip into what comes next?
Yeah. And look, you're going to be asked to engage professionals, and quite a lot of professionals right at the beginning. So that's probably the first thing where you're like, oh, I don't have a lawyer, or, oh my God, I better speak to my bank, or what's a strata search? Who's going to do that for me? Or, well, who's the building inspector? I haven't got one. So, and it's quite compressed because it happens all in a finite amount of time. You're normally expected to sign a contract and pay a check and final, and when the sold goes on it, when it's called an unconditional exchange, is when the sold goes on the board. You're sort of expected to do that, I guess, between 5 and maybe 7 business days. So you've got to have a lot of your ducks all lined up when after you've got your offer accepted, before or during.
Yeah, definitely. I think a big one, just to touch on that, Mark, is obviously you've got offer accepted, but you haven't exchanged, therefore you're not sold. So what do people, in a market that is obviously everything's for sale until it's sold, there's some circumstances where you might have that offer accepted, yes, but you haven't exchanged, and then this property is still advertised on the market, and then someone comes in and makes a higher offer. So you're caught in that mix between making sure you cover all your bases, but also making sure that you secure the property, because at any point, it's an agent's duty to communicate any offers or any other interest up until that property is unconditionally sold. So it's a bit of a tightrope, that 5 or 7 days, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And don't forget that the agents are working for the seller. So as much as they're trying to facilitate the sale, make it smooth for you, they're at the end of the day, they're going to be in the corner of the seller. They're the people that are paying the selling fee. You know, there's a fiduciary duty to act morally, ethically along the way as well, and there's those protections there for you. But basically, make sure you've got a great lawyer. Make
Mm,
sure you got a great broker or bank, you know, having those funds approved. And often they will then be able to put you on to other professionals that'll get you purchased, get that sold sign on the property as a purchaser. So just make sure you do that. Be a little bit careful when an agent's referring. Sometimes our agent will refer because they're just a bloody good solicitor, conveyancer, or they're just an awesome building inspector. Sometimes they may you know, employ greasers, you know, that'll just make the deal flow a little bit better. So I guess you just got to have your wits about you that you're doing. You know, nothing really can go drastically wrong, but just check those pros that are working for you are pros.
definitely. And I think the good thing with all the online and information that's available to us, if you are referred someone, just like anything, do your research beforehand. But I generally tend to give three options for solicitors. You know, someone that's, you know, considered not expensive, someone in the middle, someone, you know, probably a higher level of service, and always refer that on to buyers, because it's extremely important to have a good solicitor. You could have everything going right, and you know, there may be some sort of clause where that issue may never arise, and you get stuck on that point. You know, you see it happen quite often. So just having a good solicitor, and they're there to action things, because what you see a lot of the time after you're off to acceptance and you're going back and forth over a contract review, well, one solicitor will call in at, you know, or send an email at, you know, 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Then you know, you won't get a response to the other side till the end of the day. Then that follows into the next day. So it's just you definitely can see the difference when you're dealing between different solicitors and their ability to work past, you know, certain hours and ensure the efficiency for the deal. So very
And I think
important.
don't feel shy. Like, this is an emotional path for you as a purchaser. Don't forget, at any time until you've signed something, you can pull. So, you know, if you're feeling, you know, you may need, probably shouldn't say this, but you know, may need to have offer accepted and get spanked a few times before you actually buy, you know, in order for you to be settled in the process, whatever it takes. Do you know what I mean? So don't ever feel that if you know you've committed to a property that, and if you're not feeling good about it and you haven't signed anything, you can pull. You can come back. You can say, look, I'm going to pull for now, but I'm going to have a think about it over the next day or two. It happens to us agents all the time with buyers. We're sort of, it makes you a little bit, you know, confused. The biggest thing I've got to say is really like, highly communicate. The agent that you're buying through is not doing 500 of these transactions a week. They're probably doing one a week, or maybe one a month, depending on, you know, the agent. So always, you know, feel free to ring up that agent and ask questions all of the time. That's also good for the agent because they can follow through that feedback to their seller. So, you know, to be communicating with your agent once, twice, or three times a day up until you sign that contract, it's okay. And don't feel like you're over communicating. It's going to help you. It's going to give you clarity. It's going to answer, because the agents are so transactional at doing this. They're going to have so much more good information for you.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's always good to over communicate in that process, because like I mentioned, emails can get lost in the wind of things. So I always tend up to pick up the phone to the buyer's solicitor, then the vendor, then the vendor's solicitor, and get everything moving. You tend to be that person in the transaction once it gets to that stage as a real estate agent, just making sure everything's moving along smoothly.
Because sometimes we do get ghosted.
Sometimes we do, but it can't all be good, can it?
It's like, where's the buyer gone? Why aren't they
Yeah.
calling me back? And I don't know if it's a feeling of embarrassment. I don't know what it is, but over communicate. And that goes for agents, and it goes for buyers, and it goes for sellers in that period of, once you've had your offer accepted.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Have we missed anything else? Anything at all? Is there anything else we want to mention in that process? If you just tuned in, I guess in summary, we've talked about the process of when you've got that offer accepted. What actually happens after that to when you've bought the property?
I guess deposits. People, they get to the contract stage. That takes 3 or 4 or 5 days, whatever it may be, and then they believe, I'm going to send a deposit from my bank account, which isn't going to clear the trust account for 2 business days. Guys, best tip: go down to your bank, direct deposit, get a receipt. That's probably your best chance of getting it in there as quick as possible. This is always one that seems to delay me, no matter how many times I may mention go down to the bank and do a direct deposit, because the vendors are going to exchange on funds that aren't cleared through our accounts. So that's probably another big one, is just save yourself the hassle. Go down to a bank and do a direct deposit. You're going to get a much faster clearance time, because you may be lucky, you might have the same bank, but in most cases, the bank direct transfer always works well. So that would probably be a big one for me.
Yeah, we always, because people have limits on their accounts.
Yeah.
People have security issues on their accounts. There is multi accounts where the money can be sitting, and they just forgot about it or didn't think about it or pushed it off till later. So that's a big one, the banking element of it. And spot on, just to go down to the old fashioned bank, front up, do it easy, much easier.
Yeah, that's a good one. So yeah, I think we've covered the legal side, the deposits. I mean, obviously your legal side is part of your strata searches. You would be doing that, with your offer in general, or during that due diligence period on a cool off. What else? Anything else you can think of, Mark?
That's it. Hopefully we help someone out there today. And if you know anyone across New South Wales, what we've spoken about pretty much applies across New South Wales. It's different in other states. If you know anyone buying at the moment, feel free to forward this to them to help them out. It's a quick 10 minutes to help a buyer out in a bit of an unknown period of time when they're buying something.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr. Mapshot.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Thanks, everyone. That'll be the last one for the year. So Merry Christmas and have a great New Year.
Oh, yeah. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone. Love you. See you. Bye.